before we get started, that was a fantastic series by the Phils.
The Phillies really,
That was one thing that we said we were hoping for them to win 3 out of 4, and they obviously swept them. But
yeah, they swept them, which is huge. Basically buried them in the division.
yeah, pretty much. Now 11 games up on the division.
And with only, 15 games left to play,
15 games left. There's
basically no way
Yeah,
for the Phillies to lose this division now. So it's
Nah.
still unofficial, but it's all but over at this
but
point.
it should be all but over. I mean, that was just what we asked for. We needed them the most, and look what happened.
I mean, it looked like they had like a point to prove against the Mets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, hey, don't worry, guys. We can clobber this team.
The fact that they have won like 13 games. That fact that they have been, I believe it was like 10-4 or like 11-3 since they got swept out of New York, and the Mets have been pretty much the opposite since.
The Mets, even before that though, they were already in that downward.
Yeah, they were
collapse.
already in a downward spiral.
Yeah,
everyone thought they would regain some composure when they swept us in New York, and it never happened.
Just goes to show there's some type of mental thing with the Phillies up there at Citi Field.
Yeah, I guess it must be.
They spanked them at home.
Yeah,
the only game that was really ever close was Game 1. That was the only game where you were thinking maybe they could lose. Yeah, that was 1-0. Aaron Nola pitched a gem.
Yeah, you got to give some credit for Aaron Nola. I mean,
really stepping up.
After how he's been all season, the fact that he went out there against a division opponent with a lot of expectations on the lines, and he was able to give that performance.
Yeah, he was
just absolutely fantastic for us.
Yeah, and I mean, he went 6 innings, had I believe 6 strikeouts, only gave up the one.
No runs.
2 hits? I think he only gave up, right?
Yeah,
something like that. And that's a team that he has faced a lot over his career, and a lot of those players on that team he's faced a lot of times. So the fact that he's still able to, get them out for the most part, and they still haven't really been able to figure out a way to, it seems, kind of really get to Aaron Nola, especially at home. That just gives me a lot of confidence in Aaron Nola going forward. Because if you were, facing the same guys all the time, you would expect, if you're not really pitching your best, that you're probably going to get lit up by those guys because they've seen you a lot. And the fact that he only gave up those 2 hits is phenomenal for him going forward, and next start will probably be against the Royals?
Yeah, because this is the type of Aaron Nola that we're going to need down the stretch.
Yeah, we're going to need Aaron Nola to be this version of Aaron Nola in the postseason. And if he could really get into that either third or second spot, and Rob can feel comfortable with that in the postseason to split up the 3 lefties, that would be very huge for this, pitching rotation.
And then Ranger Suarez the next night went 6 innings with 12 strikeouts.
Dude, Ranger pitched fantastic as well.
So I think now it's just that phase. I think it was just a dead arm.
Yeah.
It had to just be dead arm because he's been pitching fantastic as of recent.
Yeah, the past 3 games, he has been 6 innings at least every time, given up 3 or less each time, and struck out, I believe, 10 or more. No, not 10 or more. 9 or more. Because he had a 10 strikeout game 2 performances ago. And then his performance before this one, he had 9 strikeouts over the 6 innings. So he's been dialing it up down this postseason stretch, which it seems like the whole entire team is kind of dialing it up right now. Especially to turn up against the Mets.
I would say they've been playing probably their best baseball yet.
Which is insane because they just had 2 players that are extremely crucial to this lineup, as well as Zach Wheeler, who we already know isn't coming back, go to the IL.
Go to the injured list, yeah. Imagine we get Trey Turner and Alec Boehm back on their best form for the postseason.
Exactly. And you're getting solid production from the guys filling in from them. Otto Kemp had a good series.
Yeah, he had 2 home runs.
Sosa had a good series. Sosa always seems to do good whenever he fills in for Trey Turner, or really for like anyone, and gets like 2 weeks of playing time. So if he's able to get that hot streak going right into the playoffs, then that could also be very beneficial for righty-lefty matchups. Get Sosa going again like he was at the beginning of the season. And with the addition of Bader, who's on fire, it seems like everyone's kind of just clicking.
We got to talk about Harrison Bader. He's batting. He bat .528 versus the Mets this season. 19 for 36.
Yeah, he had a extremely big series.
He's been the spark of the Phillies lineup, and the fact that they're leading him off, which is crazy. I don't even think when the Phillies acquired Harrison Bader, I don't think that we're sitting here like, oh, we're going to sit here and lead this guy off down the stretch.
No, I think everyone was pretty, I don't want to say pretty, everyone was of the mind of like thinking he's probably going to be like, hitting 6 or 7 in the lineup. And whatever production you're able to get out of him is probably going to be better than the production you're going to get out of either Rojas or Kepler when they actually made the trade for him. So he's completely blown away the expectations that he came here with. He came here with not very high expectations and has
he's just been
over-delivered.
Been blowing it out of the water, pretty much.
Like, dude, he went 10 for 19 in that series.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous.
He had a .528 batting average in that series alone, and he has a .528 batting average.
And then even when you talked about
the Mets.
Max Kepler, and he's still performing pretty well.
I mean, since August 1st, he's been
with Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, since August 1st, he has been on fire. He's played in, I think it said 25 games. He's got 20 hits. He's got, I think, 4 home runs, and he's got 16 RBIs. Or it's 3 home runs and 16 RBIs.
3 home runs and 16 RBIs.
That's pretty dang good for only 25 games you're playing in, especially since you're not in the lineup every day. You're only really playing maybe like 3-4 times a week, maximum 4 times a week, usually more in Max's case, like 3 times a week. And you're able to still be in that groove even though you're not playing every day. That's a lot for this team when, during the trade deadline, we were all saying DFA him, get rid of him.
We were all saying DFA Max Kepler and call up Justin Crawford. And
yeah. So it
look
seems
what's
like
happened now,
Rob Thompson knows better than all of us.
I don't know if they're going to continue this Kepler and Castellanos platoon come the postseason.
I would imagine
so.
It keeps working. They're just going to stick with it for as long as they can up until one of those two goes cold. And then we'll see what happens, If Kepler goes cold again right before the playoffs, does that just mean Casty's playing every day? And then if Casty goes cold, we've never really seen extended run without Castellanos in the lineup. So that would be very weird if there was, a 3-game series and Castellanos wasn't in the lineup any of those 3 games.
Yeah, I don't really know how it's going to be. Especially like you got to look at the numbers too, especially it looks like Max Kepler's facing a pitcher in the postseason who has really good numbers off of him.
Yeah.
Even though it could be a lefty, they might do Max Kepler over Nick Castellanos.
We know Rob loves his matchups. He loves looking at, matchups and how can he deploy the outfield in a way to be advantageous with these matchups against the pitchers. And he also, I feel like, considers the later stages of the game as well when making that decision, how these guys do against the bullpen arms.
Yeah, especially with like pinch hitters and bullpen arms too.
So he loves diving into those numbers, and
that's when I think like someone like Tanner Banks could be a useful long leverage, useful high leverage reliever in the postseason. When you look at the season he's been having, and then you also got to look at the matchups too. If you're going to face 2 lefties in an inning,
right?
And if you've already used like Strom in the 6th inning, because in the postseason, I feel like Rob sometimes tends to use his
higher leverage
pitchers earlier in innings.
Yeah, and there's no problem with doing that as long as you have solid fallback options, and it does seem like Tanner Banks has been a solid fallback option all year whenever Strom or Alvarado have been, unavailable to pitch. Alvarado a lot since the suspension.
Yeah, and since Alvarado won't be available in the postseason,
right, you're gonna need another left-handed guy.
lefter.
I don't expect it to really be Tim Meza, who is the lefty that has been up here for maybe 2 weeks. He's had 3 appearances.
Yeah,
I want to
think
say
they might just use Tim Meza as a possible low leverage guy.
I mean, he would probably be more of someone where, let's say Nola is like 5 2/3. He's got to get the last out, and it's a left-handed guy. You got a guy on first base.
Yeah, maybe you can see him bringing him in there,
right, to get that one out.
I mean, if I were to construct a playoff bullpen, I mean, you have Meza, and you have Trevino.
Yes, but he's a righty, isn't he?
He is a righty,
right?
So obviously you got to have a mix of righties.
Well, yeah.
Matt Strom and Tanner Banks, David Robertson, obviously John Duran. Still need 2 more guys for that bullpen.
Well, you got Kerkering.
Oh yeah,
still.
Forgot about Ryan Kerkering,
and then last probably would be someone that would be more of
maybe
a long reliever situation.
I don't know if they're going to take someone from the starting rotation,
So maybe potentially Walker.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to use Walker Buehler or whatever it is.
Yeah, it could be Walker Buehler as well.
They could use Walker Buehler as an opener.
It's going to be one of the 2 Walkers. It's probably either going to be Walker Buehler or Taijuan Walker, which is going to be the last guy probably for that bullpen.
Because you could probably use both of them as openers, and then once, maybe 2 innings pass or 3 innings pass, you could do Walker Buehler and then Aaron Nola. Or whatever. Aaron maybe get you 3-4 innings.
Right. Or you might just be like, hey, we're up in this game 7-0. What's the point in using our high leverage relievers?
Exactly.
Let's just go to, Walker Buehler to get through 3 innings for us. He'll just chew up 3 innings. Or Taijuan Walker to chew up some innings for us.
If he gives up a run or 2 runs,
it doesn't matter at that point.
You still have a 5 to 6 run lead.
Yeah, exactly. So I would expect with the way that the Phillies offense, performs generally that there's going to be some high scoring games.
Yeah, I would assume so as well.
And there's probably going to be some games that you're going to need one of those relievers that, isn't really a guy that you're going to put in high leverage spots, but you just want to eat some innings, Luis Garcia was one of those guys for the Astros when we were going up against the Astros in the World Series.
Yeah, he was.
I saw him come in a lot
to reliever,
and pitch 2 to 3 innings in a game, just because it's 2-2 right now, or we're down 3-2, and we just want someone to eat some innings, so we don't have to use our high leverage guys yet. We want to try to get the lead back. And a lot of those games, Houston did end up getting the lead back once the Phillies took the early lead.
And then the Phillies did the same in that series as well. They had Ranger come out of the bullpen on several occasions.
Right, and he looked fantastic.
You had Zach Eflin coming out of the bullpen.
He didn't do bad the one time he came out of the bullpen. You had Wheeler come out for Game 7 of that.
Had Wheeler.
So, I mean, you're going to see at some point starters coming out of the bullpen, and you're going to expect once they come in, they're going to be pitching more than 1 inning.
Especially if it's like a win or go home situation. I mean, it's pretty much all hands on deck. Even if you're down 3-1, it's still all hands on deck. You got to do whatever it takes to send that series to a potential Game 6.
Yeah. So in that scenario where it's 3-1, you're trying to stay alive to force the next game. You're using everyone except for next game starter at that point.
Yeah,
it's everybody. Much. So there's gonna be some times probably where we see starters come out of the bullpen, and you're gonna need to have extra starters just in case someone goes down. God forbid, it's happened before. Injuries in the playoffs. Isn't
it's not
uncommon.
It's not uncommon. It's not like the regular season.
Exactly. These guys are gonna have extra adrenaline, so they're gonna be rearing back harder, trying to reach that next gear. Injuries happen. You're gonna need probably an extra starter or maybe 2, at least on that little taxi squad that you can call up in case of an injury.
And they usually do have a lot of guys on that taxi squad.
Yeah, so I would expect at some point probably Taijuan Walker and Walker Buehler will both be up here. I just don't know if it's going to change depending upon what team they're playing. If they play the Dodgers, there might be a little bit of extra incentive for Walker Buehler to be the guy that's on the team to kind of stick it to his former team that let him walk than Taijuan Walker, So it's going to also depend on the matchups. As, we've been saying, Rob Thompson loves his matchups.
Or if they have to, play someone like the Mets, obviously they're going to want to get that revenge from last year.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to, all hands on deck, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever, is available that is going to be able to help the bullpen or help, this pitching staff lock them down, especially because they showed you last year and they showed you at Citi Field. They can get to whatever pitcher you throw on the mound when they're like hitting well. So you gotta have all hands on deck.
And I think that goes for
get rid of that.
I think that goes for all playoff teams too. If you're in a groove, you can hit off of good pitchers. And when the Phillies were in the World Series and they fell down to a 5-0 lead, they were able to tie the game off of Justin Verlander. I mean, and he won the Cy Young that year. So
and also
it's
remember
definitely possible.
The against the Cardinals in the wild card series that
game.
year, they had no runs scored up until Helsley came in for the 9th inning, and then they just lit him up.
Yeah, it was it was like Helsley got traded to the Mets during that game.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, all of a sudden, because I think I was working during that game, and I'm like, oh, Phillies are going to lose. They're out of it. And then, I'm done work, and I see they won 3-2 or 4-2 or something.
No, they blew them out in the 9th inning.
Was it 7-2 or something like that at the end of the game?
6-2 in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell happened? What the heck did I miss? So things can, change pretty rapidly, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs, there's
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
The Phillies lost to the Diamondbacks coming back home. They needed one more game to win.
One more game, and that ruckus crowd, and they ended up losing to the
No
Diamondbacks.
one would have predicted that was going to happen.
Yeah, no.
So anything obviously can happen in the postseason, but it seems like if they can just avoid having to use all of their high leverage guys early on, and they're able to save them, obviously their chances are going to be, much increased to get to the World Series.
And obviously, playing the Mets.
Yeah, exactly. If they can just avoid the Mets at all.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, nah. I'm willing to say that they can take on the Mets because they have home field advantage.
If the Mets may even make the playoffs,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they are 1.5 game holding on to that final wild card spot,
above Cincinnati and San Francisco.
Yeah, they are holding on to it for dear life. I mean, the fall off that they've had since the beginning of June is absolutely insane.
And the Mets do not have an easy schedule coming up.
No, it's going to be much harder.
They also play the Dodgers coming up. I think they play Detroit as well.
They got to play the Rangers with DeGrom.
Yep, they got to play the Rangers as well. So that's 3 tough series right there, and there's only 5 series left in the entire season. So I could easily see the Mets losing.
Yeah, especially if the Giants or something catch fire.
Yeah, I mean, all you need is the Reds to, win probably, I'm going to say 9 out of these last 15 games.
And nobody was thinking going into the season the Mets are going to be clinging for a playoff spot. Did you see their offseason moves and stuff?
Yeah, everyone was expecting them to compete for a division title or at least be the first wild card, team or something like that. Not the last one going into the final 2 weeks of the season and you're just kind of hoping and praying at this point you make it.
When all goes to shit, Lowell Mets will always still be a thing.
The Mets will always Met, That's one thing that I always constantly heard growing up.
The deadline acquisitions, too, I mean...
Oh, they've definitely been metting.
They've definitely been metting.
Acquisitions.
Ryan Helsley's got an 11 ERA. Cedric Mullins has got a 183 batting average.
Looking like Jordan Romano and freaking Austin Hayes from last year.
And now I see Mets fans pleading that they should have got Harrison Bader. Even though Harrison Bader was as bad as Cedric Mullins was on the Mets.
And I mean, they had the opportunity to re-sign him during the offseason.
They could have,
let him walk.
They spent all their money on Juan Soto.
Exactly. And Harrison Bader, getting back to him, it's not just his performance against the Mets. It's been his performance the entire time he's been here.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been hits and home runs and defense and speed and
Yeah, aside from like those first 4 games, I want to say, where like he only had like one hit and he was like 1 for 13 or 1 for 14 or something like that.
I could see
He's
him
been on
just
fire.
I could see him just like he just got traded.
Yeah,
Obviously,
exactly.
it's going to take a little bit to adjust from a new team. Obviously, it's in the middle of the season.
Right, and it's not like, he was just jumping on like some, train and going like, oh, I'm just going an hour up the road. No, he was coming all the way from Minnesota.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty
big difference.
Yeah.
Minnesota and Philadelphia are not even comparable in any type of way, I feel like. Not climate-wise, not the way that the city is made up, not the people that inhabit the city, not the fan base. Like, they're not really
for sure, the
comparable
fan
cities in
base.
any type of way. So that's definitely a shock to people when they, like, first come here. I mean, you saw it on his face. His first at-bat, he got announced, he got the standing ovation, and you see him mouth on, like, the TV. He goes, wow. Like, he looks around, he's like, wow, I ain't ever seen this before. So he's really taken to the energy of the fan base, and he's a very high energy player as well, it seems. You know that I hate watching the Sunday Night Baseball because Carl Ravitch, but they did talk to Harrison Bader during that game last Sunday when, the Phillies were playing, and he seems like a very high energy type of guy. He's very like...
His social medias, too, he expresses a lot of energy.
Yeah, so I feel like that has been something that all the rest of the team has really gravitated towards as well. So it might not just be the fact that Harrison Bader's play on the field, it might also be his personality has like kind of reinvigorated everyone in this clubhouse a little bit. Because I feel like since he's gotten here, it's not just been him. Everyone has been performing better than when he got here, except for maybe Kyle Schwarber, who's been in he's been in this little slump here.
Yeah, he got the
maybe a month.
He got the 50th home run, which obviously you love to see.
But we're gonna need him to get back to.
He's gonna be able to. It's gonna be hard to hit 9 home runs in 15 games, but with Kyle Schwarber's power, I mean, obviously you can't.
You can't ever
say
sleep
it's
on
done.
him. You know,
mean, if Johan Rojas was chasing the record,
exactly, you would be like, oh,
yeah,
right.
it's done.
Nah.
But with Kyle Schwarber's power, there's no denying that he could go on a little hot streak here and just mash home runs like it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he could have another 3-homer game, and then all of a sudden he's 6 home runs away in 14 games, 13, 12 games, something like that, and that's much more manageable.
Yeah, it's much more easier for Kyle Schwarber to have a 3-home run game than for
most players.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that, there's no way that he can get it. It's just he's been, a little bit of a downward slump the past little bit. Not really that the home runs have like gone down too much, even though I guess they have slowed up a little bit. It's been more like his actual at-bats. He's been striking out a lot, I feel like. I've been seeing him strike out a lot recently, and he hasn't been getting the normal singles or, doubles like he'll usually get. Now, I did see him get down to 2 strikes either yesterday or the game before, and he slapped a hit the other way. I think that was the game where they ended up winning 11-9, and it was pretty late in the game. It was like the 8th inning. He slapped one the other way, drove in a run. So that was nice to see from him. It shows that he's still seeing the ball pretty well, but you do need him to get back to, not just hitting home runs, but getting on base like Kyle Schwarber usually does.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
He's a big factor in this lineup,
exactly.
Especially come the postseason.
And the more that he's able to, I guess, see more pitches going into the postseason, probably the better for him. And he's not going to be someone that's going to have a long home run drought or anything like that. But we have seen, stretches from Schwarber before where it's like 0 for 16 or like 1 for 17.
Yeah, that's the thing about being just like pretty much a power-only guy.
Right.
You're going to see stretches like that.
So if we could just get away from that in the postseason, then we don't really need anything else from Kyle Schwarber because we know everything else he's going to give.
And another player that I'm going to bring up that we kind of need really good in the postseason.
Let me hear it.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Bryce Harper.
We're gonna need a lot from Bryce.
So he had what? One home run against the Mets?
He had one home run against the Mets, yeah.
So he only... I feel like I didn't see him do too much this series.
He hasn't been really... He's been in a decent slump
as well. So if you could get him going, get Trey Turner back, get him going as well.
Because we know how well Bryce Harper plays in the postseason.
Exactly.
We've seen it plenty of times.
I mean, there's a reason why they call him the showman, you know?
Yeah.
He always
performs under the biggest lights.
Exactly. So when you get postseason time, you know that he's going to have some big moments. Only thing that I want to see from him going forward is he does have, or at least I think I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, he has a tendency to get very antsy at the plate if they're down and he's up with men on base.
That's definitely one thing that he's got to reduce. 100%. He loves if there's a pitch coming straight to the dirt, he's not afraid to chase at it.
Exactly, and that's one thing that I would really like to see just a little bit of improvement going forward into the postseason. Is
the chase rate to go down?
Yeah, because the amount of times that I've seen him come up to the plate, 8th inning, 7th inning, 9th inning, people on second base, someone on first base, someone on third base, he just wants to be the hero so bad.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, like he wants it. He craves it. That feeling of being a hero.
And then he'll end up like rolling over to second base.
Yeah, and he just gets very over anxious, I'm going to say, at the plate and is kind of in just swing mode. Like, I'm not going to take a walk right here. Like I want to drive this run in.
He's got to learn to, like, work that count.
Yeah, and too many times you've seen him swing at the first pitch, pop it up. Swing at the first pitch or ground it out.
Or swing it at 0-1 in the dirt.
Yeah, and he's down 0-1 and
he's already down 0-2.
Yeah, and he's swinging at something that's not even close to being a strike. Yeah. And it's like, all right, Bryce, I know you want to be the hero, dude, but like, come on, man.
It's the same thing that happened on Sunday. It was a 5-4 game. He had 2 runners on, and he ended up rolling over.
Yeah, so that's the only thing with Harper that I can really say I would like to see maybe a bit of a change of during the postseason. Because everything else with him, you know, he's going to show up. He's going to have his big Harper moments. I'm not worried about that for the postseason. I'm just worried about him feeling like I have to be the guy to create the moment and no one else on the team can be the guy that creates the moment.
There's definitely definitely way more people that can create that moment.
Exactly. And if he's shouldering all of that in a situation where, you know, tie game, they're down by 1, they're up by 1, and late innings, he's probably going to revert to that over antsy nature because that's just who he is. You know, he just wants to be.
Yeah, he's been like that ever hero. Since like he was in Washington too.
Yeah, so that's just who he is. I would love to see just a little bit of a reduction in it, but it might be asking a little bit too much from him in his career at this point. That's kind of like how he's always been. But that is definitely something that could come back to really, you know, hurt the team, is his over anxiousness to swing and drive in runs when all you really need to do is get on base, dude. That's all you need to do in this situation right now. Just get on base.
Even if it's just a weak little infield dribbler.
Or a walk, dude.
Dude,
just take sometimes you don't need to always drive in the RBIs, dude. You can take a walk if they're throwing you stuff that you shouldn't be swinging at. Like, and the thing is you'll see it on his face after he swings at that pitch in the dirt. He's like, I shouldn't have fucking swung at that pitch. Like, you see it, like, the expression on his face.
He's over anxious.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows in the moment afterward, like, I shouldn't have swung at that, but I did. Like, why did I swing at that? And he knows he's a smart player, you know? Like, he knows what he should and shouldn't be doing, and you can tell when he's at the plate and he, like, messed up, it kind of, like, sticks with him through the at-bat, I kind of feel like. And
in the postseason, you're just gonna have to let that.
Yeah, you gotta let it go. Slide. You just gotta let it go. I mean, if you're swinging at 0-1 and
if you're swinging a first pitch in the dirt, you just gotta let it go.
Exactly.
Focus on the rest.
Focus on the next pitch, and don't just be trying to hit every pitch out of the ballpark to have your 3 RBI moment where you put the game away. Sometimes it's just as good to take a walk and get on base instead of swinging at 3 pitches still, that aren't close to the zone.
Whoever's batting fourth, JT, or whoever's going to bat fourth in the postseason still has an opportunity to drive that runner in.
Right, either JT or Bohm, which Bohm has shown you that he is definitely a guy that excels when there's people on base, so why would you be wanting to take the bat away from him?
Even if there's one out, you got runners on the corners, take the walk, and then you could get a run in on a sacrifice fly.
Right, or wait for something high up in the zone. I see all the time, not just from Bryce Harper, but I feel like from a lot of guys on this team, where there's a runner on third, they swing at a breaking pitch that is way down in the zone. Like, dude, just wait for something high up. If you don't get something high up before 2 strikes, I understand you got to swing and protect at anything at that point. But if you just wait for something that's a little bit higher up, you can just drive it to the outfield and get a run. It's easy. Like, you don't have to be trying to poke a ball through the infield or something like that to get the run home. You could just as easily wait for something to be a little bit above your knees, and you could just golf it into the outfield, and boom, you get an RBI. But I see all the time them swinging at stuff that breaking low and away where there's no chance that you could hit a sacrifice fly on a pitch like that. And it's like, why are you swinging at that? You don't have 2 strikes on you in this count. You want to drive the run in. You don't want to, let this opportunity go.
It's just only the main factor we just got to worry about for the postseason. The Phillies have a 5-game lead over the third
the Dodgers in third.
The Dodgers have 82 wins.
But it would also be nice to not have to face the Dodgers maybe up until the last possible moment. So it would be nice to get
National League Championship Series.
Yeah, it would be nice to get that 1 seed.
This will be a good preview of maybe a National League Championship Series when the Phillies have to go to LA.
Only thing that I can say is that they have performed pretty well against the Dodgers in recent seasons. I feel like they've won a lot of series against them.
Pretty good against the Dodgers.
They have kept Ohtani in check, I feel like, most of the
times.
Yeah,
and I heard they are going to face Ohtani either Monday night or Tuesday night. One of those nights they're going to end up facing Shohei Ohtani on the mound.
Okay. Now, I don't think the Phillies have played him as a pitcher.
No, the Phillies have never
hit
against Shohei, so it's going to be definitely an experience.
Remember earlier in the year when they were here, I think Shohei was like 1 for 12 in that series, or like 1 for 13.
He does not have good numbers against the Phillies.
So whatever the Phillies do against Shohei, it seems to work. I feel like Mookie Betts also doesn't have great numbers against the Phillies. Freddie Freeman does. I feel like he
Freddie
usually
Freeman
kills
always
us.
does because he's been a part of the Braves for so many years.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman usually kills us, and
in only 15 games versus the Phillies, Shohei Ohtani only has a batting average of .232.
Yeah, so
it's not like
whatever the Phillies are have on him, like whatever they do to the way that they pitch him.
Obviously the Phillies are going to examine him the most. He's one of the most dynamic hitters in the league.
One of the things that I think helps for the Phillies against Shohei, just in general, is the fact that they have so many lefties, and they have lefties that are very good at throwing the ball inside to other lefties.
Yeah, which that's kind of like Shohei's weak spot.
Exactly. So
that and like up and in.
That specific set for the Phillies rotation makes it a lot easier for the Phillies to attack him. And the fact that you also have Strahm and Banks coming out of the bullpen, which are 2 guys that are also not afraid to work the ball high and inside, really kind of has made it so that Shohei Ohtani has never really been able to get going against the Phillies. So I'm not really, obviously I am worried about Shohei. You kind of have to always respect it, but the numbers and the history kind of tell you to probably worry more about some of the other hitters on the team than Shohei. So I still like the Phillies' chances against the Dodgers, but I would like to avoid them if possible. That would be nice if the Padres could beat them in the NLDS or something like that.
We've shown that we could beat the Padres before. So
Oh yeah, and we beat the Padres earlier this season. We beat the Padres before in the playoffs.
Yeah, we could beat the Padres. It'll just be like a But obviously, once, like you said, it's the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah, but it'll be a tough series either way.
Regardless of who we play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether or not it would be Dodgers or Padres, neither of those teams are a cakewalk. Either way, it's going to be probably a
Realistically,
very close series.
Any team in the playoffs isn't a cakewalk.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be a good little litmus test when they go to LA.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
We see how they perform out at Chavez Ravine.
All right, so Eagles Sunday at 4:25. Obviously, they're playing the Chiefs.
Game of the week.
Before I want to say this, week 1, a lot of kicker.
Yeah.
It was not a good week to be a kicker. And week 1, the Browns kicker missed
the extra point
and a field goal.
Yeah.
Jake Moody from the 49ers missed a field goal. He got cut by them 49ers.
Yeah, they signed Cairo Santos?
Yeah, either him or like Eddie Pinheiro.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Pinheiro. That's who it was. Eddie Pinheiro.
The kicker from the Patriots missed a field goal. Jets kicker Nick Folk missed a field goal. So
a lot of missed field
Younghoe
goals.
Koo missed a game-winning field goal. I was like,
dude, that was crazy.
Damn.
I thought he was going to hit that. It was only like 44 yards away.
Yeah, that was a
like, that wasn't a crazy kick by any means.
It wasn't like 60 or something.
No, it was like in the 40s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the low 40s, too.
And then you got people like Matt Prater coming in 2 days before the season, hitting a game-winning field goal.
I mean, that was kind of a chippy. That was a
chip. That was a chip shot, but like
that was only like 33 yards. That was basically an extra point, but still, I mean, coming in, not knowing your team and just being able
immediately hitting the game-winning kick for them is
exactly.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, a lot of mix.
That was my kicker talk right there. That's
a lot of missed
kickers.
A lot of missed kicking, and one thing that's nice is Jake Elliott is not on that list of kickers.
Yeah, no, because Jake Elliott's making a 58-yard field goal.
He nailed his one field goal.
Like cake.
Nailed all his extra points. So that is fantastic from Jake Elliott. That is definitely not what we saw last year. So if that is any indication for the rest of the season, Jake Elliott is going to be good to go. Which you're going to need Jake Elliott to hit some big field goals if you're going to win. If you want to win the same amount of games that you did last year, if you want to win 12 to 13 games,
to be kicking these field goals.
Yeah.
But how are we feeling about the matchup?
I do like the matchup. Obviously, the most recent iteration of the matchup featured the beatdown.
The beatdown, yep.
And I'm not really expecting a beatdown per se this time. It's going to be in Kansas City.
I don't think anybody is. Yeah, Kansas City. Although they are playing without Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, who is
probably
limited.
Yeah, going to play on a snap count, I would assume.
Most likely. So your receivers are probably going to be for the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown and Justin Watson. And
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, and they're probably going to target Travis Kelce a little bit more.
Yeah, I would assume. And who's the other tight end they have behind Kelce? Is it still Noah Gray? Is that dude still over there?
Yeah, Noah Gray's still on there as
okay,
well.
So he'll get some targets as well. He usually gets some targets behind Kelce. But I'm not too worried. I think that Mitchell will probably lock down Hollywood Brown a lot better than
Adoree Jackson. Yeah, who knows what they're gonna do though? Who knows if Adoree Jackson is gonna be guarding?
Yeah,
too. Like
that. I don't know if they're gonna have Quinion just shadow the entire game on Hollywood Brown, where he's gonna be covering him just man to man all game.
Vic Fangio is gonna have to be making some. Like he's gonna have to rework his defensive strategy after what happened against Adoree Jackson and CeeDee Lamb.
Now, one of the reasons I do want to point out for potentially the softness in, coverage for Adoree Jackson last week and for most of the team is because Fangio said he did run a lot of cover 2 last week. And if you're familiar in Madden, cover 2, it's very easy to nickel and dime your way through a cover 2 offense. Most of the time you're just preventing the big play from happening. So I guess using that as maybe a bit of a crutch for Adoree Jackson because he's familiar with zone coverage and cover 2, but he might not have been super familiar with Vic Fangio's full defensive scheme, you're probably going to see less cover 2 this week. So I think that'll attribute to a little bit better coverage probably from Adoree Jackson. And the fact that cover 2, you're basically just trying to keep everyone in front of you and tackle the guy once they get the ball. You're not really playing to break up passes and potentially give up the big play.
But Adoree Jackson has another bad game. I mean, he's walking right out of the city.
If he has another performance where, it's the second quarter and the guy has already given up 5 catches and a pass interference in the end zone,
he's going to be giving
and
up
a missed
tackle
tackle,
like that. He's going to be walking out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's going to be
coming days.
It's going to be Jacorian Bennett probably for the entire second half if that's the case. But I really don't expect him to have as bad of a game as he did last week. Also, the level of wide receiver is not the same.
Yeah, he's not going to be going up against C.D. Lamb and George Pickens. I mean,
Right.
Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster would most likely be backups on any other team.
Yeah. I mean, Juju, I guess, is probably going to be playing the slot, so you're not going to see Adoree or Quinion on Juju most of this game, I would assume. Only thing is you're probably going to have Cooper DeJean covering Travis Kelce, so I don't know who's going to be the guy covering Juju Smith-Schuster out of the slot. I don't know if Matt McClain might get some run this game. Mac McWill. Who's the other slot corner behind Cooper DeJean? I want to say it's Matt McClain, but I feel like that's the quarterback, isn't it? Is it Mac McWilliams that I'm thinking of?
I think you're talking about Mac McWilliams.
Yeah, Mac McWilliams
Matt
is who I'm talking
McClain
of.
is the
That's
baseball
the
player.
Okay, yeah.
Reds.
Mac McWilliams is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Mac McWilliams. You might see maybe a little bit of him playing in the slot this game, and Cooper kind of being that safety covering Travis Kelce. I don't know how they're going to feel about having either Sidney Brown or Drew Makuba against Travis Kelce in coverage, or really Jahad Campbell, and you're probably not going to want to take Zach Bond and move him from kind of being the field general locking down the middle to having him have to cover Travis Kelce every play. So you're probably going to see Cooper DeJean on Travis Kelce a lot, and if that's the case, you're going to need someone to cover Juju Smith-Schuster. Probably going to be Mac McWilliams.
That's when you see Mac McWilliams comes in, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to put Keely Ringo in the slot. I don't expect them to put Jacorian Bennett in the slot. Just because during training camp, I didn't hear about either of them taking any slot reps.
And then another thing that is going to be really helpful for us is the addition of Jalen Carter, obviously. The NFL said he was suspended for 1 game without pay. Technically, since there was no snap taken on Thursday night against the Cowboys, they deemed that as a suspension, and he doesn't get his game check. So
hey, NFL, can you get FanDuel to do the same thing to avoid my... who was it that got hurt? Jaden Reed on the second play of the game, dude. Everything in my parlay hit except for Jaden Reed for 25 points because he broke his collarbone on the second play of the game.
Jesus. Oh, God.
Dude, he broke his collarbone on the second play of the freaking game. On the second snap.
Oh.
He broke his collarbone on a play that didn't even officially count because there was a penalty.
Oh, that's some bullshit.
And I lost my bet because he was the only guy that didn't get his thing.
That's the second injury in that game, too. Austin Eckler tore his Achilles.
Yeah, which... that was kind of sad watching him go down. I always liked him in San Diego / LA.
He got me some fantasy championships.
Yeah,
so.
And he's been, seemingly like a guy that has kept himself out of the headlines. He reminds me a little bit of Darren Sproles, a smaller back, can receive, has some power when he runs, he's quick. So I've always liked him, so it's kind of hard. I mean, it sucks to obviously see anyone tear their Achilles or go down with an injury, but when you just see him running and all of a sudden he just falls to the ground, you're just like, oh yeah, that's never good.
You can't be wishing like an Achilles injury, especially on anybody.
Yeah, I noticed that happen before, like they showed the replay of it, because the ball went out to his side and you can see him in like the background of the actual play, him like just go down and start holding his leg, and I was like, oh, damn, who is that?
Oh, wow.
Like, I didn't notice who it was at first.
I wasn't watching the game, but I ended up getting, like, a notification that said Austin Eckler has suffered an Achilles injury, and that just kind of like, you know, like
That's
he's done.
Yeah, and at his age, that he's probably done. Like that's probably a career-ending injury for
Yeah,
him, which
probably.
really, really sucks that happens to a guy that seems to be a pretty
Yeah, really,
decent human being.
really underrated player for his career.
Yeah, underrated. He has done everything that has been asked of him. He's probably overperformed expectations. He was definitely one of those guys that's been an underdog probably all his life. So it sucks to see,
Yeah,
that type of.
it's unfortunate.
Sucks to see. Like, that would be like if TJ McConnell got the Tyrese Halliburton Achilles injury in the
Yeah.
finals. And it's like, oh, dude, that couldn't have happened to like a worse dude, I feel. Couldn't have happened to like a better dude, I feel like, Someone that's like the model pro,
Yeah.
always is like working hard, keeps his head down, doesn't make headlines, doesn't make waves, all that stuff. So, unfortunate for him, but fortunate for the Eagles, I guess, as, horrible as that is. But a lot of people got hurt in week 1, I feel like. And there's going to be a lot of injuries always throughout the year.
Yeah, it's football.
Even though that wasn't week 1, it does, I feel like, highlight the amount of devastating injuries, though, happen on Thursday nights. The fact that, hey, these guys just played on Sunday, and Thursday night, you got two season-ending first Thursday night game of the year. You got two season-ending injuries and a broken collarbone and
then Ben Van Sumeren.
Yeah, Ben Van Sumeren on the Thursday. That one was kind of. It's not like they had played a game before though that week. The Thursday night opening game, I don't really think plays into the amount of injuries that happen on Thursday nights. But definitely afterwards, there's a significant increase for players getting more significant injuries and more injuries in general on Thursday night games just because they don't have their normal recovery that they usually have on a week-to-week base. That's why whenever you have a game on Thursday night, team doesn't usually play up until at least Sunday mid-afternoon. They get that 10 days to recover and half of that final day before they have to go in and play usually at 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something like that. So that's the only thing that I can really say about Thursday night. Any Thursday night game, which I'm pretty sure the Eagles have another one this year, don't they?
Yeah, Eagles have one against the Giants at, I think it's week 6.
Yeah, and anytime you're in those games, you tend to see injuries pop up, and they tend to be more injuries that are on the, higher end of the recovery timetable scale. And you also don't get the best product on Thursday night either. A lot of the games aren't, great, I'm going to say, on Thursday night. We did get a good game last night.
And the viewership has gone down, too, because of Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and the fact that, even though it's Thursday night seems to be the night that the NFL kind of will stick the bad teams against each other, I feel like, for the past couple of seasons, where Thursday night will be the night that you see a game like the Dolphins against the Falcons. And it's like, okay, does this really need to be a marquee
you'll
matchup?
See something on Sunday night, maybe like the Packers and Lions, or
yeah,
you get those Sunday night games, Monday night games, or like the Sunday to 4:25 window.
Yeah. Now, those games usually will have like a bit of, that rivalry implication, and that does amp up the energy a little bit and draw a little bit more interest, because even if, the Bears aren't good, you're still probably going to watch the Green Bay and the Bears play against each other just because the Packers and the Bears hate each other, and there's generally some animosity from the players throughout the game.
That goes the same with the Eagles and Giants, even though
exactly.
the Giants suck.
Yeah,
they're
or
still
the Eagles
a
and Cowboys.
Rivalry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anytime you have those rivalry type matchups, they usually always try to put those in like marquee spots at least once throughout the season. But like the Thursday night throwaway games is what I want to call them, is like you'll see Pittsburgh, like the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Jets. And it's like, Okay, really, guys? This
Even
is
though that
Thursday
first
night.
week one with the Steelers and Jets was pretty good, I have to say.
I know it was great, so maybe that was a bad example. But it'll be like the Saints and the Buccaneers.
It's like, come on.
It's like that's your Thursday night game. It's like, guys, if you're gonna make it Thursday night, at least make it so that it's like some good teams that are playing against each other on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Don't like get me this Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. Okay, I don't need to see that in a marquee matchup.
No one wants to watch the Panthers on national television.
Exactly, or it'll be like the Titans versus the Colts. Whoop de frickin' do. I don't care about the Titans or the Colts.
Nobody wants to watch Daniel Jones on national television.
Don't put that on Thursday night and have it be the only NFL game that's going on. Like, let's work it out with the scheduling here, please, people. Come on. But I digress. Back to the Eagles game.
Yeah, we could talk back about Jalen Carter again.
The fact that he's going to be playing is definitely going to make a huge, significant increase on every facet of this defense, probably.
They should be able to apply more pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
They're going to have better pressure on Mahomes. They're probably going to have better run stopping because you no longer are having Jordan Davis be the guy that you're relying on to get quarterback pressure. You're now relying on Jalen Carter.
Davis looks silly.
Yeah, so having Jordan Davis be the guy that is on the inside to stuff up that run, it's going to make the run defense look better because Jamal Williams kind of ran all over them last week. And yeah, I think Jalen Carter being in is going to make the pass coverage better.
Definitely going to improve the pass rush too.
Oh yeah, the pass rush without a doubt. You're probably going to get at least 2 sacks, I would assume, just by the addition of Jalen Carter to this defense.
That's how much he's valued.
Yeah, like that's how freaking insane
the refs
he is.
The refs are going to be monitoring him like crazy too.
Like if you watched the game last night, him being on this team is going to be like Micah Parsons being infused into the Green Bay Packers, what you're now able to see the Green Bay Packers do in their pressure.
Yeah, pretty much. And
having Jalen Carter is the same level of player. So you're going to get that same
level.
They're
going to apply a lot of pressure on Mahomes. And the Chiefs are going to do a lot on Saquon.
Yeah. They're going to probably stack the box again.
We saw it in the Super Bowl. They attacked Saquon like crazy, but they didn't attack the receivers.
Right.
And the receivers were able to just
they got carved up
all over them. Yeah.
So I do expect to see probably more of that format for this game where you're going to see less running, especially since not only Saquon, he was averaging like 23-something touches like that a game last year. Or 23-something carries.
He might only get like 15 carries a game if they're going to be able to throw the ball more. Especially they're going to want to target AJ after his one catch 8 yards after week 1.
And he only ran the ball 18 times last week. So the fact that they're making a concerted effort to use him less so that he will continue to remain healthy and effective for the entire season, plus Will Shipley being out, having to trade for Tank Bigsby to get a new guy in here, you're now working with 2 guys that, at least A.J. Dillon had training camp, but he's new to the team this season.
And if you're going to be, and if Dallas Goedert, who hasn't practiced in 3 days, if he's not going to be able to play on Sunday, I mean...
Yeah, that means you either got Grant Calcaterra.
You're going to be throwing to Grant Calcaterra, like you're going to be.
Or who was the guy that had a couple snaps at fullback? Yeah, Granson, right? Yeah, Kylan Granson.
You're going to be either throwing to Grant Calcaterra or Kylan Granson. You're going to be wanting to throw to your marquee receivers, obviously.
Right. So I would definitely anticipate A.J. Brown to get a lot more than 1 target. I would probably anticipate Devontae Smith to get a lot more than only. I think he had like 3 or 4 catches last week. So I'm definitely expecting them to be more pass heavy in their offensive snap breakdown scheme this week. And that doesn't mean that maybe Barkley won't get, as many touches per se overall, because they did seem to use him as a receiver a decent amount of times last week. They used him, he caught like 4 passes?
He caught a couple of passes, yeah.
So he also lined up on the actual line of scrimmage as a receiver last week, I believe 2 plays. So maybe you'll see a little bit of that, some creativity to try to get the ball to him in some space. But them just kind of, handing the ball off to him and having him run all over the Chiefs is not what I'm anticipating for this game. I don't really think anyone is. The only thing that I can say is the run game might benefit a little bit by the fact that I don't think Chris Jones is going to be playing. I don't think he's going to be ready
that's
yet
huge
for this game.
That's huge for the Eagles.
So
if they're going to be missing Xavier Worthy and Chris Jones,
yeah, that lines up really, really good for the Eagles, and it's probably going to end up being a close game still.
Yeah, the Eagles are still they're still pretty sketchy. Obviously, week 2, week 1, not up until like week 6 and stuff.
So it's not going to be an easy game by any means, but I do expect the Eagles to definitely perform much better than they did last week, and to probably come out with the win.
They're going to be learning their mistakes. Sorry, before I turn this off, the prediction.
So I got Eagles win 24-20, another 24-20
win.
But definitely don't think it's going to be a game that goes over like 50 points. I don't see it being high scoring.
After the Chiefs, if they didn't score that much points either, too.
Yeah.
I got them 28-24. Eagles win. Eagles 2-0.
Yeah, Eagles 2-0, and this would be the first time that Patrick Mahomes has started the season 0-2. And the first time he would lose 3 games in a row if you're counting the Super Bowl.
That would be pretty cool if he lost twice to the Eagles in the last 3 games. So
that would be pretty awesome.
So those were our predictions. We're hoping for 2-0, and hopefully they're 2-0 by the time we are back here next Friday. So
yes, indeed.